Are you a wedding planner who is tired of being price shopped, tired of being ghosted, and tired of hearing, "We'll get back to you"? I know. I know. It's rough out in these streets in 2025 landing sales. If this is the case, you are in the right place because today we're talking all about sales and how you should be selling your wedding planning services in 2025. If you want this year to be the year where you break through that six-figure barrier, where you make your first 100K, this video is for you because I'm going to be sharing with you a little secret about sales that you might not realize. Hey there, friends. It's Candice Coppola, your business BFF. If you are not new around here, then you will immediately notice that I am filming this YouTube video in an entirely new location. I picked up my camera, my laptop, my microphone, and my notes, and I am here in my sunroom in my home. I wanted to mix up the vibe this year, get out of my office, bring you sort of in my cozy little sunroom in my home, and have deeper conversations here with you on my YouTube channel. So expect some more longer form videos here in unique spaces around my home. You never know where I'll carry my phone, I'll carry my camera and my laptop and sit down and have conversations. But I just wanted to mix up the vibe and the energy of our videos here on my YouTube channel. Now, if you are new and you've just discovered me because of this video, I want to thank you for being here. I want to encourage you to hit the subscribe button and definitely give this video a thumbs up if you learned something from me today. I'm Candice, as I mentioned. I'm a former wedding planner, and now I am a business coach for wedding planners, revealing all the secrets to growing your planning business. We talk about everything here for wedding planners on this channel, from how to work with your clients, sales, of course, which is what today's video is all about, but I even teach you wedding planning techniques and tools that you can use in your business to improve your wedding planning process. Now, this channel is for everybody, whether you're brand new to business and you're just starting out, or you've been in business for a couple of years and you're just looking to shake things up and to do something different. I'm talking to wedding planners of all shapes, all sizes, and all experience levels here. So if this is something interesting to you, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Now, today we're talking all about sales. It's rough out there. It's been a rough 12 months making sales in the wedding industry. For most wedding planners, they would tell you that their sales have either become stagnant or they've even reduced. There are a lot of reasons for this, but today what I really wanted to pour into you was just some more knowledge around sales and how you should be approaching the sales process in your business this year by having a greater understanding of sales in general. Now, I adhere to the 7 stages of the sales cycle, which is a process in sales that has been taught for, I don't know, probably since Moses. It's been around for a long time, and I think that sales is something that wedding planners have to get good at. We're not necessarily born good at sales, but you have to get really good at sales in your planning business in order to grow and advance. Now, today we're talking all about sales and how you can improve the sales cycle in your business. I did mention earlier that if this is the year where you want to hit 6 figures in your planning business, this video is going to be especially important. But I'm also teaching a free live masterclass this month, in the month of February, all about how you can hit 100K in your wedding planning business. I'm calling it my 100K playbook. And during this masterclass, I'm going to be revealing the secrets that I only teach my students on how to grow your business into a 6-figure wedding planning business. I'll link to the masterclass below. This will be live. It's 100% free, and there are no replays. So you won't find this on my YouTube channel. You will only find it live for those who attend the masterclass, but I'd love to see you attend my 100K playbook. So make sure that you register for the masterclass. I've got 3 different days and times where I'll be going live for this training, and I've linked to it in the description box below, or you can go to CandiceCoppola.com/100K to register. You definitely do not want to miss this masterclass because I am popping the hood on what it takes to build a wedding planning business that gets to 100K plus per year. All right, so let's dive into today's video, all about the sales process and how you can be selling more of your wedding planning services in 2025. In order to do this, I think that you need to fully understand and master the sales cycle. What is the sales cycle? Well, it's the entire process that a prospect or a lead goes through in order to buy from you. And in order for you to sell your services, in order for your business to grow, you've got to master the sales cycle. Lucky for you, I'm going to break it down for you today, and I'm going to talk about the 7 stages of the sales cycle in your wedding planning business, giving you a brief overview of what each stage looks like so that you can identify where you might need help in getting better as a salesperson in your business. So let's start off with stage 1 of the sales cycle, prospecting. This is the first stage, and this is where somebody becomes aware of you, your brand, your services, and what you do. Prospecting is a result of your marketing. It's what you put out there in the world, whether it's the relationships you're creating, how you're networking, to your Instagram content, your blog posts, your SEO strategy. It's everything you're doing to become a magnet to attract prospects to you. And in order for anybody to buy from you, they first need to hear about you. They need to know that you exist. And the magic behind prospecting is understanding how to differentiate yourself in a competitive marketplace and understanding where your prospects are hanging out so that you can market your business in the right places using the right channels. Prospecting is one of the underrated stages of the sales cycle, and when done really well, what you're going to notice is that the right people are emailing you, filling out your contact form, picking up the phone and calling you, and less of the wrong people are doing that. You're not getting a ton of leads and inquiries from people who are way outside your service budget, who are getting married at the wrong locations, who have the wrong style or vibe, and instead you're getting more of the right people because your marketing is attracting the right types of prospects to you, while also repelling the wrong. This is a stage that you have to get right. You have to master. It doesn't happen overnight. Certainly, it's why there are a million different marketing gurus out there, myself included, who are teaching you all things marketing. And just so you know, as soon as you have it figured out, they change the game, they change the rules. And so you're always constantly trying to evolve and get good at marketing. But you're going to have to get really good at prospecting in order to get really good at sales. The second stage of the sales cycle is preparation. And in the preparation stage, this is everything you're going to do to prepare for your first meaningful interaction with the prospect. This is when you're trading some emails back and forth, you're getting to know each other. Maybe it's the questions that you ask on your contact form or the questionnaire you might send a prospect before you have the consultation. A good salesperson is always prepared to sell. They have all the information that they need, or they have access to get that information if they don't have it, so that they can come to the conversation about the sale fully prepared. I want you to make preparation something that you really lean into this year in order to hit 100K. You have to make sure that you're asking the right questions, that you're getting enough information in advance so that you can prime this person to purchase from you. Preparation, again, it's one of those low-rated sales cycle stages that's actually really important. And for the girlies out there who know how important it is to prepare, you know that you can show up to a consultation and sell your pants off because you've prepared for that conversation. You know their wants, you know their needs, you know their problems, you know what they value and what they desire out of you, and you can show up and speak to them directly and sell them exactly what they need. Preparation also looks like doing a bit of market research, understanding who your ideal client is, understanding what they want from you out of wedding planning. And so there's a lot that goes into preparation. The next time you're researching or trying to learn about the customers that you serve, I want you to recognize that what you're actually doing is preparing yourself for the next stage of the sales cycle, which is the approach. And the approach is when you have your first real meaningful interaction with your client. The approach is the consultation. It's when you get to sit down and have a conversation with your customer and even learn more about what their wants are, their desires, and what problems or obstacles that have come in the way of the planning process for them. The approach is when they get to hear from you, they get to hear your voice, voice, they get to hear the approach that you have to planning and just more about you, and they also get to express more about themselves. Now, the goal during this stage is to connect, it's to build trust, and it's really to open up a safe space for them to communicate with you and for you to also communicate your services and what you do as a planner. The approach can really make or break the sale. And I'll probably say this about every stage, but the approach is really important. You need to show up to your consultation calls and to your approach conversations with confidence, being knowledgeable, and just exuding expertise. It is one of those things that takes practice, but with a little practice, you can get really confident in your approach and in how you handle your consultations with prospect. Now, the next stage of the sales cycle is the presentation. And in the presentation stage, this is where you present your offer or where you make your pitch or your proposal. The presentation stage often happens during the approach, during the consultation, where you segue from discussing their wants, their needs, their problems, their dreams, their hopes for their wedding, and their values, and you move into how you as the planner will support them in those things, alleviating any stresses or pressure, while also letting them see what life will be like once they start working with you and the transformation that you'll provide to them. During this stage of your presentation, you also move into sending over your contract and a proposal for services, which should all be roped in together and delivered at the same time. And in that presentation, you're presenting your offer. So you're first verbally doing this, and then you're moving into more a visual or tactile presentation where they can hold your proposal in their hands, they can read through the services that you're going to offer, and why you have personally selected these services based on the information that they've provided to you in the conversations that you've had. Presentation is, first impressions are meaningful and they matter. Presentation matters. And I'll give you a really quick example of how presentation matters so much. I'm presenting to you right now with a really fancy camera, a nice lens, a professional microphone. I have an editor who's going to edit this video so it looks nice. I'm in a beautiful surrounding, and you automatically just think, this lady must know what she's talking about. I'm presenting to you in such a way where I have earned your trust, I have gained your trust, I have earned it, and I'm sharing with you really valuable, important information. On the flip side, if I were doing this in a way where you couldn't really hear me, the image resolution was not high, you felt like this was super low budget, I wasn't presenting myself well, and my backdrop was not as nice, you probably wouldn't have as much trust or faith in me that I was actually teaching you something that was correct. And you see this all the time when you're scrolling on YouTube or you're scrolling on social media. Presentation matters. And it really matters in the wedding industry where the eye is what buys. We're such visual creatures, but your clients are really visual. They're buying with their eye. They're making decisions about their wedding based on images and videos and what they're seeing. So your presentation, from the moment you turn on in the consult to present, and then how you follow that up with your contract and an invoice and proposal for services, all of that matters. The fonts you use, how you present things in an easy to read, very clear and concise way, how you speak, what you say, all matters. And it can be, honestly, the deciding factor if somebody chooses you over your competition. Once we've presented your services and your offer to the prospect, we have to be able to follow up with any objections. And this brings me to stage 5 of the sales process, which is handling objections. I want you to think of objections as roadblocks or just like stop signs that you see in the sales process. Objections are things that your ideal client is saying to themselves, or they might even be asking in the form of a question that's basically like, I object. I'm not sure if you're the right fit for me. I'm not sure if we're ready to book a planner just yet. I'm not sure that we can afford this. Those are all common objections that come up in the sales process that actually stop everything. And if you want to advance further in the sales process, you have to overcome objections. Nobody's going to buy from you if they don't know, like, and trust you, and if they don't fully believe that they're making the right decision. Now, some objections can be just subconscious, or they're just, not necessarily rooted in reality. Like, I don't know if we're ready to hire you just yet. Of course you're ready. You need to hire me as soon as possible. You and I know that a planner being on board as soon as possible is always the best for the client, to be involved from the beginning or as early as possible. So it's not necessarily an objection rooted in reality, but it's something that's holding them back from saying yes. As a salesperson, you have to get so good at handling objections, understanding what objections are common for your clientele, how to handle those objections or reassure your client, how to answer their questions, but also how to understand what they're thinking but not saying to you. And this will be subjected to your business, to the types of clientele you serve. I cover this pretty extensively inside the Planner's Playbook in our sales course, but you're going to have to really understand what gets in the way of a client hiring you over another person, or just hiring you in general. In the wedding industry, we've seen a huge increase in the delay of making decisions. Not by us, because girl, we're ready. We're ready to be your planner. We're ready to work with you. But on the client side, they have a ton of objections. They're worried, they're stressed. They want to make sure they're making the right decision, and they're delay and deferring decision making. All of this can be solved by you, the salesperson, guiding your clients through their objections and helping them make the right decisions. I think that this is probably the most important stage of the sales process next to the presentation. And this brings me to the next stage of the sales process, which is the close, or closing the sale. Now, we often do this while we're in the consultation, and we also do this as we present our offer, whether it is in the consultation or followed up in a presentation of a contract and an invoice and a proposed service. But closing the sale is how you get somebody from, it would be really nice to working with you, to saying yes, to signing on the dotted line and initiating the deposit. You have to make sure that you are a good closer and that you understand the nuances of closing the sale. This is where I think a lot of planners really need help, because I'll tell you what I notice. I notice that you don't want to be aggressive, and that you don't want to bother people, and that you don't want to come off as pushy or as too salesy. And so what you do in the name of making yourself small and quieting your voice is you sacrifice the sale by not being aggressive enough, or just quite frankly, not even aggressive, just straightforward, and helping guide your prospect to buying from you. I want you to start thinking of sales as being of service. When you help people buy a solution to their problem, you are actually serving them. You are giving them the gift of having someone come in as a service provider and support them. You're giving them the gift of having what it is that they ultimately want. And the only way that they'll get that is if you sell to them and if you close the sale. So in 2025, this is where a lot of planners, where the rubber meets the road, handling objections and closing the sale. You've got to be a good closer. I go through this in our sales course inside the Planner's Playbook. So just so you know, definitely sign up for the wait list on that if you want more of my help with closing the sale. Now, the final stage of the sales cycle that you need to master this year is the follow-up. Any sales expert or guru will tell you that this is where sales are won and where most sales are lost. Sometimes we need to just poke people a little bit. We need to follow up. We need to check in. We need to send that email to see if they've made a decision. And this is where you really need to make sure that your follow-up sequence for all consults, and heck, even before you get to the consultative phase, you need to be following up with people to get them on the consult. You need to make sure that you're following up and you have an incredible follow-up strategy. As couples delay and defer, as they take longer to make decisions, it requires us as service providers to follow up more. It requires us to send more emails, to check in with them, to help them make decisions. And if you're not following up with your prospects, you are literally leaving money on the table. You're literally leaving money there. You're standing up, you're grabbing your stuff, and you are leaving money on the table. I want you to get really good at follow-up, and I want you to stop feeling like you're bothering people or that you're being annoying. I mean, sure, if you're emailing somebody every day looking desperate, that's a whole nother story. Following up isn't out of desperation on your part. It's an act of service to the person who might just need you to check in to see where their head's at, to see if they have an objection you haven't cleared, to see if there's a hesitation that you can work out of them like a tight muscle, like a knotted muscle in their shoulder, and massage that out so that they can make an informed decision. You need to be following up with your prospects. And this is often where the sale is won. It's not necessarily like, yep, consultation, send the agreement, we'll sign it while we're on the call, we'll pay you right here, and we're ready to go. In a perfect world, that would be incredible. But most of us are finding that there's this extended time and we need to follow up and follow up and follow up and follow up. So this is where you've got to get not just good, but you've got to be great at the art of follow-up, anticipating people's needs, understanding what they need to hear, and knowing how many times to actually follow up with someone before you archive that project in your honeybook or before you send what I like to call the magic email, which is just an email saying like, I'm gonna assume you went in a different direction. So if that's the case, good for you. If not, I'm still here. I'd love to talk to you. The magic email was actually a concept created by somebody else, so I cannot take credit for this. I'll link to the magic email below, but it is a really good way to follow up and initiate a close in the sales cycle. Just a little side note. All right, so those are the 7 stages of the sales cycle, and I think that this year is the year where you need to master every single stage in order to close more deals and to hit that 100K mark in your business. I'm going to be teaching you more about my 100K playbook in my webinar this month, in the month of February. I have 3 different time slots where I'm teaching this live, and it's 100% free. I want you to get my 100K playbook, so do yourself a favor and register for my webinar by going to CandiceCoppola.com/100K. I will be sending you some details about the webinar, and as we get closer to it, some reminders, because you know I got to follow up with you to make sure that you show up. And I'm even giving you something really special during the webinar, which I don't want to reveal just yet, but I will be revealing eventually. All right, friend, I want to hear from you. Which stage of the sales cycle do you think that you need the most help with? Do me a favor, drop a comment below. I want to hear from you. You never know. You might see a whole video dedicated to that stage, helping you get better. You might also see some resources in my shop around it, so I'd just love to hear from you. And I cannot wait to help you make this the year where your wedding planning business grows, and who knows, maybe you even hit that 100K mark. All right, friend, I've linked to some videos here that I think that you should check out next, and I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.